Yes, welcome back, dear audience. After this short break, I'm your host Suhaib Binu once again with the discussion aisle, and today we have in our studios a renowned personality, certified clinical psychologist, Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali, and we've been discussing about the mental illness and how to cope with the mental illness, whether in the shape of disorders, anxiety, mental stress, or even depression. So these are the things that, and even these are the key challenges that we are facing right now. Unfortunately, our society is dealing with, and we have such experts who are the real experts, not only the with the title, but they are the one who just practices, who just have the experience by their own, because they are the one who just dealt with their own diseases, their own bipolar disorders, and right now they are just practicing and just saving the lives of the individuals, especially who are right now dealing with such illnesses. And we just discussed about that how to deal with the individuals who are just coping with such diseases, and we just came to know that how you can, a practitioner can make realize such a person, yeah, you are dealing with such diseases, and here are the best practices. If you are going to adopt this, then you will just get rid of it. And even we just discussed about the type of illnesses, what are the best practices in Pakistan, and how Pakistan is competing the world, and what are the best practices in the world, and how this a specific sector that is evolving here in Pakistan, and what are the main reforms that we need to just adopt, and main structures that we need to just adopt to cope with such situations in a most sophisticated manner. And dear audience, if we just talk about the online games that we've been just discussing about before going to the break, indeed it's a big addiction, but we as a parent, we are the one who just give such gadgets to our young lot, so that they can just go to excel, and just they keep on playing that game all the nights and all the days, and even they just suffered in their education structure also. And undoubtedly these games, they have some specific motives. They are also making us mentally ill, and they are making us such extreme addictive that we don't make our differentiate among who are our loved ones and who are our enemies. So these are the main thing that we need to just focus upon, so that we can just cope up this situation. And coming to you, Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali, just question raised in my mind when I was discussing that with you about this mental illness. Sometimes introvertism, if a person that is introvert, he is not that talky, and he just like to share few words, not more than that, and he don't want to be a social person, he don't have a social network. Even their patients, they say maybe he has some psychological issues. So being an introvert or introvertism, is it a psychological issue, or is it just someone feelings that he's not that talky, and he's not that one who love to be socialized?
Surely. First of all, I would like to say, in Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
we have created so many things like which were not even there, which were not even the issues.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like, there are some personality tendencies. We call them law of nature.
Mm-hmm.
A personality being introvert or extrovert is just the part of the law of nature. If I talk about myself, I'm an introvert as well. That's not an issue. In foreign countries, they just try to. In Pakistan, we're just trying to change the personality. You cannot make an introvert an extrovert, or an extrovert into an introvert. These are the personality traits. In foreign countries, they're respecting it. For example, like if you're an introvert, they will provide you the educational capacities within your domain. They will. I was just listening to a company. I was just reading about a company in England, and they have introduced for example, if you're an introvert, then you would be given background jobs, office jobs, and you have to deal with the emails and receiving telephone calls. You don't have to face the people, because the business is run by. For example, like if there is a movie or a film, the actors are those who are extroverts, and the directors are those who don't want to come in front of the camera.
Exactly.
And there are producers who just want to invest money because they're interested in coming in front of camera. The reason is that in foreign countries, if I talk about being introvert or extrovert, there was the major topic which was being discussed by University of Pennsylvania and APA, American Psychological Association, and for a decade, their American National Board kept on talking about being introvert and extrovert. You just need to train a person enough to deal with the daily charts and nothing else. You don't have to become, for example, I'm just trained how to talk in a radio show, how to talk in a TV show, and how to stand in front of on a stage. That's it. That's my extremism. When I will come out of stage, when this program would be ended, I'm a shy guy. Exactly. I'm an introvert person, and you have like literally noticed it. Like when you go on a break, I don't talk much because I'm an introvert. So we need to accept it. If you would accept something, that would not become an issue. For example, my friend, I would like to take the name. He would be very happy because nobody has smoke from his end. He was an introvert, Abdullah Azhar. He wanted to do something while sitting in front of a computer, not facing the people. He doesn't like to sit with the friends. Neither me. So his father forced him to become a civil engineer. He was a very good. He was a very good person. He's still a very good person. He was so much like a high grader. And later on, he flopped. He was a disaster in his professional field because he was not being able to continue with the civil engineering, because civil engineering is all about field work. You have to meet people. You have to engage with them. You don't have to sit in the office, because civil engineer is someone who has to work outside on a construction buildings. And now he's coming back to computer sciences. He's doing his degree once back again, and now he's learning coding and learning how to make Android apps. The one thing which I want to tell you is that being introvert or extrovert doesn't make you a better person. It's just about accept, like if you're introvert, accept that person. If you're extrovert, respect that person. And you just need to train extrovert person not to be overconfident. And you just need to train the boundaries towards the extrovert person as well. Because there are people out there who are extrovert and they cross their boundaries and limits. We have seen them on the stages, on the TV shows, all of our field of life. And if someone is introvert, might be like the God has, or law of nature have given him some other capacity, because I can make Abdullah sit for 12 or 22 hours in front of computer and ask him to make a program, and he will do that because he's good in it. So respect his values, his norms, being an introvert, and train him enough so he can deal the daily chores with the people. That's it. Not supposed to become a stage actor, a stage performer, or a stage person. You cannot change your personality. If you will try to do that, you will destroy that person. And later on, we have seen so many cases and reported in Pakistan as well. There is no authentic data in Pakistan, firstly, I'm trying to tell you. And what happened, people like us, even like us, like who become extrovert after so much hard working, we are not happy inside. Exactly. Because whenever we are facing loneliness and we're just thinking about like what we were not those people. I'm a person, I feel good when I'm in a room on a laptop doing research. I don't want to live this fantasy life and while like having cars, showing off, and having brands. I don't wear brands. I don't want to meet people seriously. But then I decided that what I'm doing with my life, I'm an introvert. I need to accept it. I'm talking about myself because I can be the best example for anyone. Then I started thinking that I'm not a rapper. I'm not born to have ponies and to have those chains. What I'm doing with my life, I'm just forcing it just because this is the public victory. Once back against Stephen Hawking. I know, like I have to go for my own self because I was getting too much in depression. Then I said, okay, all right, Arslan, I need to learn how to manage people, the necessary people, how to manage necessary situations. Otherwise, I will enjoy my introvert nature. And still, I love it. I love being introvert. I have just managed to talk on a radio show. I have just managed to talk on a TV show or on a stage. When I will leave that situation, I will enjoy my company. That is I'm introvert. Don't have enough friends.
Exactly. So there are different platforms where you have to behave accordingly.
Exactly.
So dear parents, introvertism is undoubtedly not a disease or not a disorder, but it is a situation. We are characters that
personality trait.
Exactly, personality traits, a good word, and it is someone who is just capable of. You don't need to impose something that one who is not capable of. And even especially one point that just raised in my mind when you were talking about that person, Abdullah, your friend, forcing your own kids to join a specific profession is not a good practice. Just try to avoid it and try to make your kids realize what is best for them. And just suggest them, being a parent, it's your responsibility and it's obligatory to just tell them that how You can excel in a specific profession, and what is better for you and what is not good for you, and according to your knowledge and skills, what you can be in good with and what you will be bad in with. So these are the main things that you just need to cope and just need to pass on to your own generation, so that they could bring a brighter future to their next generation, rather than a black or what's a dark future for their own coming generations. So these are the main things that stop forcing your kids to adopt such a profession that they are not interested in. Once again, there's a big issue that we were just discussing in the break. That's about the unfortunate affairs that someone who just get involved with the other through social media, and then the things goes sometimes, I must say, maybe in 0.1% in the right direction, but mostly in 99.999% they went in a wrong direction. Does it become does it came across with some psychological disorder too, or they are just getting our youth especially in some bad mental conditions? What will you say? What is your experience on it, and are you dealing with such cases these days?
There are so many cases, and every second house has that case. Firstly, I would just like to ask you, at macro, at a larger level, have we any trained our kids? Because every kid has a certain psychology at different ages, and they are certified and licensed psychologists. They should be must in school, college, and universities as well. So have we ever trained our kids about this despair of life as well? Have we ever talked about love as well? For example, let me be very open. When we were used to sit with our parents and we used to see something very not good, appropriate as for our age, they used to change the channel, and that curiosity used to be unresolved in our mind. And later on stages, we uncovered that reality in a very, very negative manner. Similarly, what happens when you're having a mobile phone and you have a social media platforms, TikTok, etc. So these are the fantasies. For example, South Korea is the #1 country selling emotions and love emotions. They are bestest when it comes to selling emotions. Your guys and your girls are being inspired by the K-pop, Korean pop, and those guys. So these are the fantasies. So they are having, for example, if a 12 years old girl is watching TikTok videos, he would have a very distorted version of love. And I can talk about love in a very different manner. You can talk about love in a very different manner because you're a married man. But these girls and boys who are just trying to get attention of their parents and their teachers, even though I don't like this education system where teachers are not being trained to deal with the students. For example, if your teachers don't have their own mental health, I'm so sorry to say that you don't have any license for teaching. In foreign countries, we have a license. For example, if you, the most disastrous thing which I ever feel is that, which I felt, which made me crestfallen, is that your teachers with the low education standards teach the students of the middle ages. For example, you have to have a primary certificate to teach. Those government teachers have primary certificates to teach. Because when you are in foreign countries, I'm just comparing it because they have done that practically.
Exactly.
They want the most highly qualified teacher. I will come back to this point as well. They need the most highly qualified. Becoming a teacher at university in foreign country is far much easier to become a teacher at a school level. Because your mind is in a process of learning.
Exactly.
Your mind, your nucleus accumbens haven't been developed yet. You are not mature. You don't know about the real actual concepts of life. So you need a person who is teaching you to be very exposed, calm, cool, collected, and mature person. But here, the stories are very different. You don't get a job, you get teaching. You don't get anything, you become a teacher. So now, if I talk about at the micro level, parents are not being able to understand the needs. There is a need because we have a chemical diet. Our children are getting mature much more of. For example, the things which I have done at the 24 years of age. Now I'm realizing that there's so many cases. A 12-year-old kid is doing that same thing, and then I'm telling my wife, is it really possible? She said, Arslan, you're a very old-fashioned person. You're still living in 90s. So, for example, the concept, for example, in 2004, Facebook arrived, and that was very new. I joined Facebook around 2010. But for example, if I talk about my wife's sister, she's 10 years old and she's on Facebook. So there's a huge difference.
Exactly.
And then you were getting those Korean cultures, those love concepts in a very distorted manner. And then you realize that you need that thing. That there's a love hormone. Those love hormones are, like, like there are 4 chambers of love hormones in psychology. Then there is a need that this is something different.
Exactly.
That your parents love is something else. Yeah, your brother loves you. This is something else. But you need someone like who tells you how beautiful you are, how handsome you are, and those fantasized textings and callings that your voice is very sweet and very good and very cool. And then there are people who are narcissists, who are using internet. They don't care about your needs. They want to exploit you and your emotional weaknesses.
Exactly.
Like in Pakistani society, we have really worked hard on intelligence and on intelligence quotient, 90% marks and 5% marks. How much work you have done on EQ, emotional intelligence quotient? If your child is not mentally intelligent, he can still survive in this society and in capitalism and can do much wonders. Even if he or she is a backbencher with 40%. But if he doesn't or she doesn't have an emotional quotient, he or she would get her life disastrous and a complete failure because would not be able to survive in this society. Similarly, then there's the direct messages, and then you start liking someone because everybody pretending on the internet is not real. They are fake people, like who are pretending something else. For example, if I want to fake myself on internet, nothing, not a big deal for me. I can do it in a very easy manner. When people there are stalkers on the internet who see, like, there's a 10 or 12 or 13 or 14 years old young and girls and boys, and they just try to, there are gangs in Pakistan, and there's a case, I will not take the name. So they are just working out, like, what are the weaknesses of this woman? What are the weaknesses? And you are indirectly telling those people, seriously, being a clinical psychologist, I've done my PhD in abnormal psychology. When I see 4 videos of a person, I come to know what is the weakness of that person. See, and these narcissists know how to exploit them.
Exactly.
And then there starts the fantasized world of the love, and it ends very bad. Blackmailing. Yesterday, a woman called me, and she told me she was crying. She was crying like hell. She said, like, she was just a 13-year-old girl. She was crying, and her mother was crying, and then she was crying as well. She said, like, there was a guy next door, and I found her. He was my crush in matriculation, and then on Facebook I found her ID and pinged him, and then we started talking about love games, and then an inappropriate material was shared. Please let me tell the young boys and girls not to share your pictures. If somebody wants to marry you, he wouldn't be asking you for these kind of things, because marriage is a very respectful institution.
Undoubtedly.
And if we talk about university level, of a university is co or not co. We are indulged into a debate like whether you to have a co-education or not a co-education. No, mono education. We call it a uni education, unisex education. It's not a problem. The problem is that why we are not being able to. What are your world rankings? What are your universities rankings at the world corner? You say like a particular university is very best in Pakistan. What's the world ranking? What that university has produced in the form of research? Nothing. Because these guys and girls, when a fantasized world, when go to university, they want to form relationships, love relationships. I have seen so many universities. I have been part of them, officially teaching as well, and I have seen that they have no serious approach towards life. They just come up with they want freedom, which freedom is not necessary. Get freedom. I want women freedom, but I want women to be standing in front of United Nations stage, talking about some serious issues, not on a TikTok. I don't support that kind of TikTok, that kind of freedom for a girl, for a man as well. If a man needs the freedom, go over there and talk about the political situation and all of the problems rising at a system, and try to change it, and even try to change yourself on serious issues. These guys and girls have very lofty goals. Lofty goals means when you don't have any hard goals or real goals. You don't want to become a doctor or engineer. You want to become something else. And then they get caught in the form of love. And with the passage of time, the manipulators start getting their weak points. And then later the manipulators start blackmailing them. And then what happens? We say like we have law enforcement agencies. But for example, if a daughter, if you have some inappropriate material of a girl, there are very 1% chances that that the girl parents will support her, because there is an element of respect as well.
Exactly.
Because how she would be able to handle that shame? Because she needs to get out of it. She needs to tell the parents that I have sent some inappropriate videos and pictures to a person in the name of love.
Exactly.
And how she would be able to tell that? And if she would tell that, what would happen? And even if the parents are cooperative, still what would happen? Like she has to come in front, and that really needed very hard because the system is not supportive once back again. The system would hate your respect.
Exactly. And what do you think that what should be the role of parent, being friendly and being a parent that could just share everything, especially specifically if I talk about the mothers, they need to be like a saheli, like a sister to your daughter, that you could just absorb everything from her and tell her what is good for you and what is bad for you. So what do you think specifically what should be the role of a mother?
I think so. Like as I told you earlier, the South Asian parents really needs to learn the parenting methods. Firstly, I want to make a story. I don't want to exaggerate it. If you kept a child in the womb for the 9 months, that was your responsibility because you decided for it.
Exactly.
And when you became a father or a mother, that was your choice, not that kid's choice.
Exactly.
That was totally your choice. And then what happened? You need to become very friendly with your kids. Like we as a Pakistani parents always want our children to force things.
Exactly.
I was telling my wife, if I would have a son, I'm going to be a father. So I would not tell my son, I will not hide that money from, I was just giving an example to my wife. I would not hide the money from my son. I will tell him that there's a drawer, the money is inside over there, but there's a responsibility. Exactly. I trust you. Trust your children. Exactly. We don't trust our children. We just want to enforce things. For example, when our child came back and tell that a specific person has done this, and we start shouting at our child that why you have done that. Our mother was telling me a few days back, like his son is a matriculate and he was throwing stone at the neighbor roof, and that person was a government employee, grade 19 employee, and he came, and then they started shouting at their son. I said that was the most pathetic thing you have ever done. Exactly. Haven't you asked your son that what really made him to do that? And that did you told your son that I trust you? And I know like there was a reason behind it. And I don't want to know about these people like why you have done that. But you are so much mature and I trust you. And if you have done that, I don't want to shout at you. Because you're so much mature, you're so much intelligent person, and I'm so much proud of you. And I know, like next time you will not make me disrespectful in front of these guys, because then you matter for me. And I told them that if you would have done that with love, next time who would have taken the responsibility for not doing it, because somebody has trusted him or her. Exactly. So we are not trusting our children; we are forcing them. That's why these things are happening. We need to become friend, not only friend, but trying to understand their needs. We're getting into their level. And so much open that they can even share that, for example, even if a 12-year daughter is sharing that she likes someone, she must be enough capable to tell the father. And then the father doesn't need to shout, but to tell her that this is not the right time.
Exactly.
And telling about the technicalities. And you don't have, for example, like we have a mentality, we have to resolve matters on a very minute and a second. Give her some time. And make proper, and kept on teaching her, teaching him. And with the passage of time, when that person would be exposed, and then he would be sitting in his late 20s, he would realize that his parents taught him in the right manner. He would respect them.
Exactly.
You're getting this point.
Exactly, and the parents, they need to be so friendly, and especially the kids, they need to be much parents oriented. They must trust their parents either. I must say that two-way reflex thing, that one what you are reflecting and the one that you are expecting to be reflected by your own daughters or your own kids. So dear audience, undoubtedly we have a very fruitful session and we have a very fruitful discussion that is undoubtedly better for everyone. And even those who are listening us and those who are watching us on Facebook, they must realize that how we can cope up such situations in our daily life, especially when it comes to some mental stress, some mental disorders, phobias, or anxieties. So there's a common, a minor difference, but the symptoms, they could, and even the worst condition, they could become even more worsen, that they could harm you, or even they could just make you realize that you were doing something wrong in your past stages, and in the future it could bring some massive disastrous situations that could create not only for your own family but also for the peer groups and for your even professional areas where you are working with. And as we were just discussing about the common mental illnesses, we were just came to realize that emotional intelligence is something that need to be addressed. There should be a proper counseling. There should be a not counseling for the kids, but also for the parents, so that they could just realize that if someone is just dealing emotionally with another person, and even he is a minor or he's below the age, then there should be a proper mechanism or proper wordings, proper passages of sentences that could not even harm, or that could be so friendly, that could be so understandable, and that could be beyond shouting and screaming, without torturing your own kids, without putting them in a plummet stage. Just be friendly and just be kind and affectionate to your own kids. So this is the main key, that rather than giving me be a dictator, as I told before, or be so aggressive and violent, that why you did that, what the hell do you think you are, such words. These are the common words that we have just adopted, unfortunately. Rather than, as Dr. Arslan Ali was telling, that be kind, be affectionate, and tell them the technicalities. What are the technical problems? That you are below the age, you are right now a minor, and when you will get the age, round about at 18 and after 18, you will make yourself in a decisive position whether I am doing right or wrong. And even there should be a proper mechanism of counseling, and even there should be a proper mechanism of discussing among the parents and among the family members. So family is the best institution, undoubtedly. The kids, they always, who just love to ignore their parents, that's wrong. And even the parents who just love to ignore their kids, that's also wrong. Be friendly always. And I just want to share my personal experience once when I had a call center, and I just I just posted an ad for some vacancies at my own call center. A guy just came across, and he was an interviewer, and he just told me, that I want to join your call center. I said okay. He said, I have 3 person with me, they're standing out. So I just asked my office boy, just go and bring them to the visiting area and let them see and treat them as a guest. He said no, he won't find them. I said why? He said okay, send him there. And when the office boy came back, he said no one is there. I said, are you joking or pranking? He said no, they are still there. I said where are they? He said just behind you. And I was literally, shivering that what is he saying? Is something paranormal or something haunted that has happened to him? He said, no, I have some psychological issues, and still I have these 3 guys, 1 lady and 2 guys. I keep on, taking advices from them. I said, where are they? He said, the lady is behind you, and the 2 person, they are on the one on the right side and one on the left side. What do you think? That was indeed very frightening for me. Is it a chemical imbalance, or is it something that they can see something out of the world? What will you say?
Yeah, like there are 2 types of schizophrenia. Like one is illusional schizophrenia. When we're talking about illusional schizophrenia, you have the thoughts in your mind.
That's hallucinations, I think.
Hallucinations, and they don't exist outside, in the outer world, in the external world, just inside your mind. Those thoughts which really don't exist in the external world. So what happens when the psychomotor speed becomes at the we call it 10 cystic level. So when it crosses the 10 cystic levels, now psychomotor speed is corresponding with your ganglion structure, and then your amygdala take over your brain, and your prefrontal cortex, medial prefrontal cortex, takes the backstand. Because for example, like when a thought is generated, there are some things which we really need to tell our Pakistani society. For a normal person, a thought is generated in the mind through a logic, through medial prefrontal cortex, and being balanced by the amygdala, by providing the emotions. Because a thought is very rough in nature, and emotions provide the wet form to the thought, and that thought is balanced by the logic and by the emotions as well, and then human life is surviving. But in these cases, a thought is generated from amygdala, purely emotional in nature, and excluding all of the logics. And medial prefrontal cortex is trying to get the gamma amybutyric acid for 45 neurons while putting the logic, but they're blocked. Due to which psychomotor speeds become faster. And when the psychomotor speed is becoming faster, you have an illusional schizophrenia. But the point is, when the psychomotor speed starts to fluctuate within the seconds. when your psychomotor speeds is working higher than the average and lower than the average speed, then your neurons are started striking at the part speed at a statistic level, which puts you in delusional schizophrenia. You start creating those images of the thoughts at the external world. You actually start seeing those faces which doesn't really exist in the external world. Let me tell you about the dream analysis by the Sigmund Freud, and let me join it with the Gonzalo Schoschle. She is a very contemporary psychologist. If I talk about, for example, about the pictures in the mind, Carl Hoveland said, like Sigmund Freud, he was a Sigmund Freudian, and he used to follow the philosophy of the Sigmund Freud. He said, like, there are the pictures in the mind, and there is only one place where the mind is being capable of creating self-images and self-thoughts that doesn't actually exist in the external world, is the delusional schizophrenia and illusional schizophrenia. Wherever a normal person, whenever sees a dreams, he sees a picture or anything which he has been come across in his or her life, directly or indirectly. But these are so much, we can call it like dangerous or disastrous stages, that a person started creating those thoughts and really those images in delusional schizophrenia, which actually doesn't exist and not part of this external world. And that is the creativity of this mind.
Exactly.
And let me connect it with Australia. Sorry, with France. There were people out there who were not being able to become part of the society because they were not very good in education. They know, like, they are very good in nature when they want to train generation. They started doing research on delusional schizophrenia, and they came to know, like, if we will train these people, they are very creative in nature because they can form thoughts and pictures which cannot be created by a normal mind. So they trained them, they make their schizophrenia manageable, and then they ask them that provide us an education system in which we can make the person part of the system, those who are criminals and you know, like, the first education system for the criminals were being made by those people who were dealing from the delusional schizophrenia, because they created those thoughts which were not being able, those images which were not being able to be created by the normal person. So that is the delusional schizophrenia, really very dangerous.
Exactly. And unfortunately, there should be an education and counseling for our society too, because if a person that is just facing anxieties or a small amount of phobias, our society is the one who just calling them, yeah, you are mad, or you are something who can't understand everything, and we are the one who are making them, or who are the just turning them towards a disaster stage. What do you think, that we are the one who are creating more depressive persons, or we should be a person that could just be a healing one to the patients, to such patients who are just coping with mental illnesses?
The answer is pretty simple. If somebody would have understood me, I would have committed suicide for twice. Being surviving in the ICU in PIMS and polyclinic, I would have done that if people would have understood. Seriously, like, if we would start understanding people, for example, now people understand me. Now I don't need them to understand me, seriously, because I don't need any empathy or sympathy from them, because I'm at that level. Like, even if you will tell me that you have these kind of eyes and you're bipolar and you're a mental patient, I don't care at all, because I have just crossed those limits. Seriously, if people would learn to, even if this society get education, basic education and awareness about the mental health education, and start accepting it, your 90% problems would get far away. For example, I was dealing with a very difficult case. For example, there was a man who was having those symptoms which were lying under the social taboo. He said, like, he's suppressing it for last 16 years. Like, within 1 month, he's back to the normal life, and there are no unwanted thoughts. There are no unwanted emotions and behavior. I have the message in my WhatsApp, but I will not disclose it because it's confidentiality. Exactly. So he said, like, how this was possible? I said, what I did? Nothing. I educated you.
Exactly.
I told you about the mentality of your science, so I did the proper scalings. I told you, I trained you that how you need to manage your life, therapeutic interventions, your diet plans, and what are the hormones which are creating that imbalance, and what are your brain regions which need to be set down, and I just modified your behavior and thought patterns. That's it. And I accepted it. First of all, he said, like, you're right. You were the one person I was being able to share those thoughts, because if I would have shared it with any other psychologist, I had that in the past, but they make fun of me, and then they gave very judgmental statements. But you are the one. I shared my religious and unwanted thoughts, religiosities, atrocities, and my other thoughts as well, which were not being able to be expressed. And I thought, like, yeah, this is the person in the whole world. My mind told me for the first time there is a guy, Dr. Arslan, and he accepts my thoughts. So he said, like, I started to getting back to my life, and he said, like, no, I don't get any more negative thoughts.
So just came to realize that optimistic behavior big change, and that is the change that is required by our society, and even the individual, they need to impart such thoughts and such learnings through counseling or through, even I must say that YouTube is a big platform that where you can learn everything, and even you need to just thought about that the word you are just spilling out of your mouth, is it a love word or is it a pinching words that could hurt someone? So that matters a lot.
I just want to give you a practical example.
Sure.
My brother Mahmoud Ali Akhtar, he was born in the same environment as well, but he was the one person who was very brave in nature. During, like I'm sitting in front of you just because of my brother Mahmoud Ali Akhtar.
Oh, mashallah.
When I was at the hardest phase of my bipolar affective disorder, everybody was pinching me down. My mother, my sister, like, who was herself a psychologist, and like low marks and low averages makes you a psychologist. So I don't want to create any controversy. So I have forgiven everyone, each and everyone. So my mother was saying, like, he's playing snooker and he's doing so much wrong things and he's smoking cigarettes as well. He called me. He was in England. Mahmoud Ali Akhtar, my brother, called me and he said, I trust you. He said, like, I have seen you. We have spent childhood. You're not that kind of person. There's something wrong with you. I said, like, I'm suffering from bipolar. He said, I don't know what is bipolar, but I will help you out in each and everything. That was the first time when he was enrolled me in Islamic University, and he told me that HSC allows you to have 2 degree programs, one in the morning and one in the evening. He said, like, keep yourself busy in education. So I took 2 admissions, like one in BS in morning and one in the evening. So he kept on telling me, he kept on motivating me, and in cases of, for example, like in case of cigarettes, he told me, if you want to smoke, smoke it. You're enough mature. But I want to tell you, like, I never smoke a cigarette, and even your brothers haven't done that. Your elder brother haven't done that. So it's up to you. Your father haven't done that as well. He has done so many things, but never smoke a cigarette. But if you want to smoke it, smoke it. And I will not, like, judge you for this. But he said, like, I expect something very mature from you, that you will not smoke it. I don't like my heart say that Arslan would not smoke it. Let's smoke a cigarette once back again. Like, his words were so healing for me.
Exactly.
That they gave me the energy. Even in the worst stages of my bipolar, I wanted to do the rapping. I told my brother I want to become a rapper. He said, like, like Fruity Loops. It's a very good software to learn music. So start learning music and start used to send me the links how to learn rap music. So he supported me because he knew it that one day this guy would understand that rapping is not his profession. It's just like a catharsis. So like when I for the first time when I get back to the university, my classmate offered me a cigarette. There was something in my brain that my brother told me that he trusts me, and Arslan would never let a cigarette once back again. He's not that enough weak. And I said, like, my brother has some expectations from me, and he has really trusted me at that level when nobody was trusting me. So I would never ever take this passive catharsis. I would never ever let a cigarette once back again in my life. No, I don't do. I'm a drug-free man. I don't deal these kind of depressions or my heart breaks with these kind of pathetic kind of cigarettes and these kind of drug things. This is very immature for me.
Exactly, and a point, that's a funny point, I want to share that with you. Even most of the chain smokers, whenever you say that smoking is injurious for your health and don't do smoke, they always say, I have depression and anxiety, I want to lose that by smoking a cigarette. Can you heal a patient with some smoking texts?
No, it's just a lame excuse in the Pakistani society. Smoking is just a fashion. But like what really happens, like your brain is not being, it's designed for these kind of nicotine and these kind of tobacco stuff. Whenever you psychedelic drugs, which are very common in Pakistan, and I don't want like how they are selling in Pakistan openly, but I don't want to talk about that. There's a controversy because my friends are taking them. So what happens, like when you are taking drugs or you are having a cigarette, your brain creates Gaussian area in your brain. Now that is not physical existence area, that is psychological area, functionality of a brain. And with the passage of time, you get addicted to that nicotine and that tobacco products. And once back again, capitalism, buying and selling.
Exactly.
And we call them psychological manipulations. Actually, the cigarette is not something that makes you out of stress or depression. It's your manipulation.
Exactly.
For example, like there's my friend, and he's a physiotherapist. He said, like, like we pop up the bubbles of a client, for example, like this and the other things. and the client thinks like he start feeling very relaxed, but there is medically there is no evidence that those bubbles are responsible for the relaxation. We are just playing with the mind manipulations. So drug is completely a manipulation, and we started our androgens start becoming hyperactive. Whenever androgen become hyperactive, then instead of providing the energy to the testosterone, started providing energy to the dopamine. Now the dopamine which is being released by taking the drugs is not the natural dopamine. It is STUV dopamine which can be reabsorbed. Any chemical hormone which is released in the mind and cannot be reabsorbed is a selective artificial hormone. So you become addicted of those hormones. That's why antipsychotics are addicted in nature, because they release artificial serotonin, which serotonin cannot be reabsorbed. So natural hormones, if we talk about the natural working of the brain, these are the natural hormones which release and they get reabsorbed to reuse them. But the artificial hormones that are released, they cannot be reabsorbed, and they are very dangerous for your brain, even in the form of antipsychotics, in the form of drugs, cigarettes, etc.
You are much right. And dear audience, now you have realized that smoking doesn't heal your depression. It's just injurious to your health, and quit smoking. And if you are not quitting, try to just squeeze your smoking period and turn them, just minimize them, and inshallah after 1 or 2 months or a couple of months you're going to leave that smoking. And it is good for everyone, or especially even it's harmful not only for you but your family individuals. They are also inhaling the smoke that you are just exhaling out. So if we talk about our today's discussion, we just talked about how to be sportive, how to be friendly, how to be understandable, how to be a counselor to your own family. And we just learned a lot. Even me, myself, I personally learned a lot from Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali. And last but not the least, I must say, what is your message to our audience and to our viewers who are just watching us and witnessing this whole discussion, this whole scenario right now on social media? What do you say?
Yeah, that's very important. Firstly, I just want to tell that mental illness is functional in nature, not structural in nature. No medical machine would be able to recognize your symptoms. For example, if you have a panic attack, your heartbeat is pounding, ECG would give the normal report. Why? Because your circadian clocks are working appropriately. These are the fake messages which are being produced and which are being thrown to the hippocampus. And you feel those things. Whatever your mind wants to make you feel, you will feel and you think. Secondly, please be less judgmental and more empathetic. Understand others. Now, those people who are suffering from mental illness and issues, I want to tell them that please don't become sympathetic in nature. For example, don't ask for the sympathies for the people. I have seen so many people, like when they are in mental illness, they start saying, please understand us. Please, why should you want people to understand you?
Exactly.
Because your society is not accepting this mental illness. We are lacking far behind. So you are the one you have to fight for yourself. Be like me. For example, if I talk about I'm bipolar affective disorder, even your parents cannot deny it. I'm telling the truth. But there was the time when my family was calling it a polar bear, laughing at me, and they will. Society will tell you like you're physically very strong. Then what's wrong with you? This is a mental illness, functional in nature. So be strong. Manage your lifestyle. Manage your diet plan. Don't talk about that normal stuff. That I'm not getting happiness, I'm not getting peace, I'm not getting success. No, these are the very minor things in your life. Now your life, when you are a mental patient, your psychological patient, your life is much more and have a greater purpose. And I did that as well. You need to manage your life, your diet, you need to take proper healing of your bioclock, your therapeutic interventions. And one thing I just want to say to the government of Pakistan, if you are taking some competitive exam in education system, a person like me who is a bipolar affective disorder patient, would I be able to give the same exam? No. And if I had to appear, my biggest wish was to appear on the CSS exam. Would I be able to adjust in your system, in your education system, or in your job culture as well? Never ever, because my work works differently. Why not I should have a different education system? If they are specially able children, and we are also mentally special as well. We also have we need our category as well. That if Arslan Akhtar Ali is a bipolar and say someone who is having anxiety disorders and phobias and major depressive disorders, we need our recognition. We need a badge, and we need our separate education system. We need a quota in the job system. I seriously, I was not being able to get a government job initially. Later on I got it, but like initially because my mind I was into bipolar, automatic thoughts, emotions and behaviors, how could I prepare for examination? You know, like how much I have been gone through to get a gold medal. People ask me that why I never got onto the stage to get the gold medal. I don't want it because I don't accept that gold medal, because your society haven't accepted me. Your professors, your teachers haven't accepted me. They blamed me for my rude behavior. They blamed me for my episodes, which I was not being, I was trying hard to get adjusted, but your system was not adjusting me. So if a person is having a problem, then make a separate education system, have a separate quota, have a separate competitive exam system, so we can also appear in the competitive exams and get higher posts as well. We are not, we are psychological patients where we are not disastrous, we are not harmful for you. You know, like there are so many jobs who have rusticated me for. I have been rusticated from 100,000 of jobs, literally. Literally, I have visited so many cities for the jobs, and for 100 of jobs, I have been rusticated from the jobs just because they came to know that I'm a bipolar patient, and I will harm their children, and I will harm their colleagues, just because they just try to stigmatize me. So there is a responsibility of the system as well. There is a responsibility of the family as well. And the person who is suffering from mental illness, please don't become paranoid or psychopath. Accept it, make your life manageable, and do whatever. Focus at your personal victory, not your public victory, and have an attitude. Even if I will die, I will die like a king without the crown. That I would be able to tell my Lord that I fought for it. I didn't ask for the people, please help me out. Last year I am a patient of bipolar. Last year I became bankrupted. I lost my job because I was not being able to fulfill my financial obligation. My family left me. But the one thing that I learned is that I would fight till the end. Might be you have watched my video in which I was crying. I started my journey from a psychology expert, my organization journey, from a crying note. I was asking people, please give me money, I have to pay my bank loan. And the bank, they were calling me and they were coming to my home. My family left me all alone. I said to my Lord, if this is my destination, from now onwards, I would become the greater version. I still have those eliminations with me in written form, that now it's me and it's me. And then today I'm honor of psychology experts, international mental health organization, dealing with the different countries, even with the foreign people. They're taking counseling sessions from me because they have something in me. So just don't get into sympathetic nature, manage it. Don't try to think that you will take the medications, you will get all right. Might be there would be years of struggle. I did it for 10 years. Might be if you had the right direction, you can done it in 6 months as well. Make it manageable and you would be back to life.
Thanks so very much, Dr. Arslan Akhtar Ali, for your share, and especially for shedding the light on this important topic. And undoubtedly, dear audience, I always, it's an immense pleasure for me whenever I just invite a person who is a savvy in profession, who is a person who can just tell us that how we can deal in such situations where we can harm someone, or we can, or someone could be, disturbed by us. Today, we just learned that we need to be sportive, we need to be friendly, we need to be ethically strong, we need to create friendships, we need to create love and harmony rather than creating hatred, and rather than creating, such, bad behaviors. And one more thing, don't be judgmental. And the last thing that I just want to wrap up my show today, that is, smoking doesn't heal your depression. On a lighter note, just want to share that smoking doesn't heal, and try to quit smoking, because it is not good for yourself and even not for your family either. Dear audience, this was Suhaib Binur with the Discussion Aisle. We are just signing off from Planet FM 87.6. Thank you so very much. Allah Hafiz and Fi Amanillah.